Okay, question and answer time, folks. There we go. PA back on. So was the Tower of Babel literal or structure or symbolic? And if yes, what does it say about the sophistication of the ancient people? My view is that it was literal. They were building an actual tower, not because they trusted God, but because they didn't trust him, and they were unifying again in their rebellion against God. And the sophistication, I think they had quite a great sophistication. Think about our intelligence today. These people were still very, very close to the Garden of Eden. The lives were still hundreds and hundreds of years. They could pass their knowledge on to generations below them. I think they had quite a bit of sophistication and intelligence. So I have no doubt in my mind that was what was going on. Do people still do the tabernacle celebration in the New Jerusalem? So I'm not sure if they mean the sanctuary services or they mean the Feast of Tabernacles. But either way, both of those Old Testament things were symbolic of an eternal reality. And so no, we won't do symbolism. We will do the reality to which the symbolism pointed. We will actually live with God. So the tabernacle service we tabernacle in nature with God, which is symbolic of a new heaven and new earth, a Eden coming back down to earth, and God brings the New Jerusalem down, and he actually governs the universe from earth. And so we actually tabernacle or dwell with God for all eternity. That is the reality. We don't need a ritual to tell us that it's one day going to happen. We'll be living it. Same thing with everything in the Old Testament sanctuary. It was all about the message of taking sinners who are alienated with God through the plan that God has. And if you go to our website and use the resource section and find the sanctuary seminar, you'll go through it. But the whole point was bring us back into at one-mit or unity with God. We will be at one with God. We won't need a symbolic system to teach us the plan. We will be living the reality. So no, I don't believe we'll be doing that there. We teach that everyone has free will to make choices. Romans 9:18 says otherwise. How would you explain that? We just actually explained that in class. So if that didn't answer the question, then send us a message later. What is your personal spiritual discipline of study? Specifically, do you read a passage, write the application, find a validation through academic articles or personal development books for more practical steps? Thank you, Dr. Jennings. You are an awesome role model. So I don't have a structure that is some type of a bullet point, boilerplate thing that I do. My whole thing has always been a journey towards knowing God more. And so that is the theme. How do I know God more, his will more, understand his designs more? And sometimes it might be reading a psalm and meditating on the psalm and the meaning. Sometimes it might be a theme. I remember I spent several years studying out, and then I would, if you would look at my computer and some of my documents, I have thick files full, where I've thematically gone through a theme, like maybe, well, what is actually the significance of the seventh-day Sabbath? What is its real purpose? Why was it created? And I might spend years studying that theme and researching all types of articles and resources and integrating and synthesizing those together while I'm also studying other stuff, just continuing to grow and advance in that. So I don't have a structure that's some type of a boilerplate thing. It's really a journey and different questions that come along, different challenges that other people might throw at me might trigger and inspire me to go hunt that down and research that out for answers, and that's kind of what motivates me. If you have time, could you explain the mediatorial ministry of Jesus? Desire of Ages 568 says, he is today standing at the altar of incense, presenting before God the prayers of those who desires his help. I'm sure Jesus doesn't have to convince God to love us, and he references John 16:27. Yet most Christians lean towards this thinking that Jesus has to convince the Father to do something that he wouldn't otherwise do. That's correct. Most do that. And so, first off, the quote that you quoted is symbolic. I personally do not believe that there's a little dark room with a little gold stand burning incense going up in smoke, and Jesus is there, maybe with a little blower, a little electric fan blowing smoke back towards his dad with prayers in them. This is symbolic. This is symbolic. It's not literal any more than when he said, "Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no part with it." It's all symbolism. What's this symbolism about? And this goes back again. Go listen to our explanation of the sanctuary. The holy place is a metaphor for the church. The golden altar is a metaphor for the heart of the believer. The fire is the Holy Spirit, which is to indwell the believer. The incense are the prayers that we give, and they're made fragrant by the Christ-like character being reproduced within us. This is metaphorically speaking that Christ is standing at the altar of your heart. interceding in your heart to make you more loving and gracious, to remove the defects of character out so that you will be presented to the Father free of the selfishness and fear that we were all born with. So that's what the metaphor is really about. It's not actually to influence the Father, it's to prepare us to meet the Father, is my understanding. But it's all symbolic. It says, can you blog about sleep, staying asleep, so forth and so on? I don't know that I don't actually have a blog about sleep. I have a couple of podcasts, I think, about it. And then in my book, The Aging Brain, which we gave away, I can't remember which month we gave those away, but if you have the Aging Brain book, there's an entire chapter in the Aging Brain about sleep and sleep hygiene, sleep health, what happens in sleep, how memories consolidate in sleep, things that interfere with sleep, what normal sleep looks like. So I'm not going to go into that right now, but maybe that would be a good blog for some time in the future. Dr. Jennings, love your teaching. What is your view about the perpetual treatment of men to women? Adam accused Eve for the sin in front of God. Abraham did not care that Sarah was subject to sexual assault when he offered her to Pharaoh to save himself. God appears to have no rebuke on men mistreating women. I would disagree with that. In these particular cases, how God dealt with Adam at that time, he did not in any way excuse Adam and buy into what Adam was doing. It was an evidence of Adam's selfishness that he did this, immediately willing to blame Eve for his own, but God still holds Adam accountable for his own actions and conduct. He doesn't get a pass. He goes, oh, you're right, boom, she's out of the garden, you get to stay. That's not what happened. His condition was changed. He's still struggling with fear and selfishness. He still suffered the consequence of what sin does in his life and his heart. Abraham did not have peace and did not have more joy and did not have more health and did not have more happiness with his wife and Pharaoh's harem for those days. I can promise you he was not a well man. And he also had to be confronted, and this is ultimately my view as to why he was asked to sacrifice Isaac. Because he struggled with fear and self-protective mechanisms like this that you see, which is an evidence of the fear and selfishness with which he inherited, and we all inherit, and that he was still struggling to overcome. And this is why God gave him the challenge at Mount Moriah, was to allow him to make a decision. Will you trust me with the thing most precious in your life or not? And so I don't see these guys getting passes here. I see God working to heal the heart rather than simply chastise behavior. And that's the big problem with many people. They want to chastise behavior and set rules rather than fix heart problems that lead to these things in the first place.